It's the Nuka-Cola Lounge, presented by the Triple S League.
Everything can change in an instant, whether or not you're ready.
This wasn't the world I wanted, but it was the one I found myself in.
What's up, everybody? Welcome. This is Ash. Welcome to the Nuka-Cola Lounge podcast. We are at T-4 days to Fallout 4. That's pretty apt, hey?
Yep.
I don't know if you guys remember, maybe you won't, but Saib, when we released our first 2 episodes of this series, it was exactly 100 days to the release of Fallout 4. This is day 96 since our first release. It's been going really well.
Yeah.
So this is our last podcast episode before Fallout 4, but man, there's plenty coming down the road. We are not going anywhere.
You know what's crazy right now?
Besides everything you ever say.
Yeah, well, that too. But yeah, the internet is literally going crazy. There are trolls everywhere. There are trolls that are going onto other people's like Twitches and Twitters and Facebooks and all that stuff. And they're linking spoilers. Like, some of them are wrong spoilers, and then some of them are correct spoilers. And, it's not good. The world is full of assholes.
The internet has always been full of assholes.
Who knew the internet is full of assholes?
I don't know.
Anyways, we want to assure you that this episode is going to be spoiler-free from 10 days before launch. So we're not going to mention any of the spoilers that have showed up on all those dirty websites. We don't want anybody clicking on links and getting viruses like a certain GameSpot.
And if anybody links spoilers in the comments,
just don't do it.
Exterminate. Oh, Daleks in Fallout. That would be sweet.
I'm sure that will be a thing at some point.
Weeping angels.
Oh, don't get me started on those. They don't obey rules.
What are you talking about?
It's terrible. It's just like something you can't kill. It's just no fun.
They're creepy as hell, though.
Anyways, a lot of podcasts that were talking about how like spoiler heavy the internet is right now, and now everything's going to crap basically. And some people got their copies a little sooner than they should have. Basically went to retailers and took them out of the box a little early, and then found a workaround for the Steam login, I guess, or something like that. We're not 100% certain. And then there's a lot of press releases that went out that people are also using to report on things without following the NDA. And we got to remind everybody, NDAs are they're important. They're not something that you choose whether you or not you want to follow them without consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And if you follow some of the Twitter feeds of some of the devs, they are saying things like, all those websites that are putting up things that they clearly agreed to not put up, just so y'all know, we keep a list, and you will be on that list. But at any rate, so we're gonna be spoiler free,
certified spoiler free episode of the Nuka-Cola Lounge.
We're gonna talk about 2 things today.
A couple of things. Since we're just a few days away from Fallout 4, we thought it would be a good time to talk about how to optimize your character build right off the bat.
This is something that's not spoiler. We're just gonna go into information that we've known from beforehand, and information that we know is going to be repeated from Fallout 3 to Fallout 4.
For me, character creation is always the most stressful part of starting any RPG, because I hate re-rolling and having to redo things. So we want to help you to, and this is going to help me as well, to build your optimal character right off the bat. These are some basic guidelines. This isn't going to be telling you the best type of character to build. These are just some basic guidelines for helping you in your character creation process.
Maeve here loves to re-roll on games. So why do you like to re-roll?
Because I enjoy all the different experiences a game has to offer. And a lot of the times, I'm not sure what I want. So...
And you gotta experience to figure it out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Is that going to change for a game like this, where you're basically being offered endless gameplay? Unlimited growing potential for your character. If you play for long enough, you will upgrade all your specials to 10. You'll be a jack of all trades and be able to do anything with your character. So will that prevent you from re-rolling?
I would think, yeah.
Yeah?
The fact that the game has that depth to it where you can advance your character as much as you want. Yeah, absolutely. I would stick with one character I think just for the sake of efficiency in seeing the whole game, as it's going to be such a big game.
Absolutely. And I'm really looking forward to that aspect because, as I said before, I absolutely hate re-rolling a character. And so I'm excited about the fact that if I get to the point where I'm like, oh, I wish I had taken this stat or gone in a bit of a different direction right at the beginning, well, I don't have to start over in order to experience that.
Our guide here is going to be just how to not regret the first 10 hours, or in some circumstances, the 20-hour mark to the 80-hour mark.
Saib has a list of pointers, so we'll start with the first one here. Initially, you don't want to level any single special stat higher than 8. So why is that, Saib?
Well, you can.
You can,
and that
obviously.
definitely does, yeah, and that definitely gives you access to a really, really high-end perk. And, Todd and Pete have mentioned in the past that they kind of designed it so that, you could do that. But there is bobbleheads, and then we're assuming that there's quest perks that will give you an additional point here or there. Some of these things are going to be pretty easy to find and pretty quick to find. In Fallout 3, you encounter a strength one very, very quickly. If you do an exploration around your immediate area in your first quest zone, you'll find it really fast.
You're talking about the one you find right in Vault 101?
Nope.
You're talking about after Vault 101?
Yeah, Lucas Sim's house. These are things that you want to kind of bear in mind, so if you do increase it to 10 and then you walk out and you find a bobblehead, well, that's another point that could have gone to another place.
You're at your weakest at the beginning of the game, so you want to optimize those points as much as possible. So while we're talking about strength, let's just move on to that point. You want to set your strength and endurance to 4, or at minimum 3.
Yeah, with strength and with carry weight. That's one thing that can really make your game kind of annoying, is walking around and going, oh darn, I wish I had more strength to haul around this stuff. By the time you get your weapon, a handful of survival things, your armor, you're already going to be at pretty close to 100, and then you go to a place, you find a bunch of scrap that you need for constructing something, and then you go to another place and you find, a nice minigun. Oh, now you can't walk home, and that's going to suck. Now, I play Skyrim on a modded system that makes hits very, very dangerous. If somebody were to walk up to my character and hit them with a two-handed sword or hammer, that's pretty much an instant kill. So there is a lot of fun you can have with that, but if you are going into the game expecting, a general kind of shooter experience and you only have 1 endurance, you're going to find that you die really, 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 really fast. So as a general rule of thumb, strength and endurance, keep them at around a 3 to begin with. It's not a character choice so much as it is an annoyance, and you don't want to be annoyed when you're playing a game and then wanting to reroll after 20 hours.
Right. All right. So your third recommendation here, Saib, is that you build 1 core skill up to 7 or 8, or 2 core skills up to 7.
Yeah. Maybe your character's kind of like if you were to call him a superhero, which superhero would he be?
He would be Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner. Okay, so Bruce Banner, you're going to have lots of
endurance and intelligence.
Endurance and intelligence. So that is a great pick, especially because you can take that nerd rage one. So you'd be this smart guy who people don't think is really strong. He doesn't have a huge weapon, but then you hurt him a little bit and he goes absolutely ape crazy, and he's got so many hit points that you can't bring him down.
That's the idea.
That's utilizing focusing in 2 special stats and bringing them up real fast. If you're a big fan of just running around and shooting and exploding stuff, take perception and endurance and strength. If you want to be more of a sneaky person, then go perception and agility, and then luck. You max those out as quick as you can, and you're going to be a real fast, quiet, super stealthy assassin.
So basically, you want to really focus in on one thing. Don't try to be a jack of all trades right off the bat. Don't put 4 in everything. Level 1 or 2 of those up to 7 or 8, and then if there's a third one, maybe up to 4 or 5. Put as many points as you can in those stats that most closely match your playstyle.
You can be a real good jack of all trades down the road.
Down the road is the key.
Trying to spread yourself too thinly is going to mean you're going to be missing a lot of stuff right off the get-go.
Mm-hmm. Luckily, there's usually more than one way to accomplish a goal.
Oh yeah, and this game is going to have a ton of those options. Like the fact that you can do completely non-violent playthroughs if you want, right from the get-go. That's another thing you can do, is this heavy charisma and intellect build, and just talk your way out of pretty much every encounter. That's something that you definitely do. So yeah, look at the perks, kind of choose which perks you want to focus on, and then just remember that chances are you're going to be able to bring that 8 or that 9 up to 10.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's talk about luck.
Luck and agility are two things that you can actually drop down to 1 and keep them at 1 and not experience the loss in the general gameplay. If you're doing a kind of a Mass Effect run, or just treating it as a general shooter, you don't need a lot of luck, you don't need a lot of agility if you're going to go that way. If you're not going to use VATS a lot, it's not really that much of a point to using agility. If you're not going to spam VATS and utilize the crit system, then you don't really need luck. You don't need luck to get into strange places. You don't need agility to unlock big doors. You don't need luck to haggle with things. So luck and agility are the two things that you keep relatively low if you'd like.
So let's talk about some specific examples here. Let's talk about we've already talked about Maves a little bit. So Saib, for you, what is your character going to look like right off the bat?
Huge agility, huge perception, huge breast. Oh, sorry. Huge luck is going to be the core build for my character.
Yeah, so going based off of your suggestions here, I'll definitely start with a strength of 4, maybe even 5. We'll see. Because I want to get that strong back perk as early as I can. That's at 6.
Yeah, for anybody who's wants to do a lot of building and collecting, strong back, really good one. You're going to go to an area, you're going to be like, ooh, here's a bunch of rubber, some steel, some, this. I'm going to take this back and I'm going to build a brand new outhouse.
As sort of a ranger type character, I'm definitely going to want perception. Very high perception, probably start with 8 in that.
From there, you'll want to even yourself out, have a little bit higher of agility, but also probably have a bit of charisma or intelligence in there.
Yeah, because I'll want hacker and I'll want sneak.
So your number 1 is definitely going to be perception. Your number 2 is actually going to be tied between 2, agility and intellect.
So I might want sort of a moderate, maybe 5 or 6 in each of those.
Yeah. We should also mention this. If you leave your intelligence at 1 in previous games, your conversation choices in a lot of scenarios would be like one-word things like ugh or duh or oops or really dumb things. So if you've rolled your character, you've left your intelligence at 1, and you're going through and going, wow, this guy I'm playing is a freaking idiot. He can't say anything straight. He's always like stumbling over his words and like not saying anything. Like, my goodness, he's so stupid. Yeah, that is a feature of the game. When you have such a low intelligence that they can barely register it, you're not going to exactly be Winston Churchill or Shakespeare. And then down the road, you're not able to romance Piper because you can't read her articles. You might feel like you're missing out on something. So
you might want to have a fairly high charisma stat if you're going in that direction as well, just so you can talk her out of publishing that article about how bad you were in the bedroom.
Yeah, that's true. You don't want to be Taylor Swifted. Let's just put it that way. Except instead of a song, it's a news article that goes over the radio to everybody in the wasteland. Yeah.
Okay, so there's some basic pointers about character creation, and again, just to reiterate, this is about optimizing your first 20 to 100 hours of gameplay.
Yeah.
Just to prevent you from having to go back and re-roll because you're finding, oh, this is not working the way I want it to. I put 10 in strength and 10 in luck and like 2 in everything else, and now, the game is just not fun.
Speaking about the first 20 hours of your game, there's something that a lot of people are really worried about, and that's bugs.
And we're not talking about blood bugs and rad roaches.
No, we're talking about glitches. Game-breaking problems.
Bethesda is infamous for these on their initial releases.
So, We've done a little bit of research here on this now. There's a couple things that you need to know. First of all, the technology that they have been using to make these games has been getting better and better and better and better with each release. It's also been getting more complicated, so there's always room for more errors and bugs and other things like that. Try to avoid those big problems by doing a couple things. Number one is, if you encounter a bug, don't fret about it. Maybe just leave that thing, that quest, whatever, and just go do something else immediately, because it'll probably be fixed in a few hours by an update. They are promising to do lots of updates and bug fixes, and we know that unlike a lot of their previous games that were kind of pushed out of the window a few weeks or a few months prior to when they wanted it to be, we know that this one has been done and wrapped up for almost two and a half weeks now, and all they've been doing is focusing now on bug fixes.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally they can't catch every bug, but they're going to be super, super busy fixing and patching bugs right from the get-go. So, every day check up on to see if there's a download ready. Forums are your friend. I really think this one will go very, very smoothly, but don't try to break stuff.
So, 4 days to Fallout 4, and we are making plans for launch night, I should say, midnight on the 10th. We will be obviously installing Fallout 4 as quickly as we can, and Sybe is going to be live streaming late into the night. Prior to that, we're hoping to have some kind of a pre-show thing, so stay tuned for an update on that. We'll tell you what Twitch channel to tune into, what time we'll be starting, that kind of thing. Hopefully early on Monday we'll be able to let you know about that. Starting Tuesday, I will either start live streaming or recording a playthrough similar to the ones I've been doing with Fallout 3 and certain other games. Maeve has also got some plans. He's going to be playing through Fallout 4 with a focus on settlement building. And so hopefully he'll be able to put together some tutorials or examples of what can be done with that area of things. So lots of exciting stuff coming in the future on our channel. And I want to thank you for all the support and all the positive feedback that we've been getting over these past weeks. As always, we want to hear from you. Let us know what you think. How hyped you are for Fallout 4, as if we need to ask. You can always drop some comments down below or tweet us. We've got a couple of Twitter accounts now. You can follow at SSS League, you can follow at Nuka-Cola Lounge, or you can follow Sybe at Sybesidian. And Sybe's also got a Twitch channel. Any idea what you're going to be streaming this weekend?
Lots of League, probably.
League of Legends.
And just chatting about what's coming up.
I'll try to tune into that. Until Monday, we bid you farewell. This is Ash on behalf of Sybe and Maeve.
We love you for supporting us.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for listening. Speaking of bugs, I was playing through a Fallout 3 mod where you're in this dark cavern that's just chock full of deathclaws, and at one point there's like 10 deathclaws after me, and I run into this little building thing, and so it was this epic battle with me with a super sledge against like 12 deathclaws, and like how the number keeps getting bigger. Anyway.
Yeah, it's just like the dude in the 100-Year War in France who was hit by a runaway arrow. It then turned into, a runaway rock from a trebuchet to suddenly it was half of a house, and then a couple months later it was a cathedral.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I got hit in the knee with a cathedral. I can't even remember what the point of that story was.